Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Keys, back with another video today. I feel like it's been a while since I've done an episode on my series, Being Married Young. So we're gonna hit that today. And for today's topic, we're gonna talk about 3 positive things that I feel like I learned during my marriage. And you know the drill. We're gonna do makeup, so I have something to keep my hands busy. So I'm just gonna show you what I usually do when I kind of want to spruce up my face. And yeah, so we're gonna get started. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you are subscribed and are deciding to come back and watch another video, I want to say thank you so much and I appreciate it. And yeah, so we're gonna start with this NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop concealer in golden. I think I seen Arnell or Alyssa Ashley using it, and I was like, oh okay, I need an inexpensive concealer, so I went and tried it and I like it so far. So to get started, one thing I feel like I learned, one positive thing that I learned from my marriage is how to communicate. I'm a non-confrontational person. I don't like arguing. I don't like, going back and forth, seeing people upset. In general, I'm not really a good talker, so going back and forth with people kind of stresses me out a little bit, and it is very exhausting. So there are a lot of times when I'm going back and forth with people, and then I'll just be like, okay, and then I'll just stop there. But like when you're married, you can't do that shit. And I know that it used to drive him absolutely bananas. And so for me, it was kind of like a lose-lose, because either way he was upset or either way he was upset or I would be upset, because I would feel like I didn't get my point across and he didn't understand where I was coming from or whatever the case is. So we actually went to marriage counseling, to where we both found out that the way that we were attempting to communicate with each other was actually wrong. Like, even if you're the type of person to sit somebody down and try and talk with them, you have to be able to talk to people a certain way. And I feel like that's one of the big things that I took from counseling, because I've never been one to just openly just try and talk and figure things out. Like, that has never been in my character, and that was something that I took from me. So now it's to the point where the things that I use in marriage counseling, I apply it to all of my relationships. So now I know that I am the type of person, if I feel some type of way or if I'm upset, then I need time to cool down before I can speak and really clarify myself, because you can't take words back, and I never want to say the wrong thing, because those are things that stick on people's minds. So I know that I have to really watch what it is that I say. So now it's to the point where I know how to calm down, and I try to think rationally, I try to think logically, and then I'll go to the conversation. And people don't understand how important it is to acknowledge that person's feelings. In order for you to be heard and understood, you have to be willing to listen and take in what people are saying to you. Even if you don't agree with their feelings, you have to be like, okay, I did something or I said something that made somebody feel a certain way. And one thing I don't argue with is people's feelings, because I hate when I feel like I feel some type of way and my feelings are denounced. So I try not to do that to other people. But you have to acknowledge people's feelings before you can even be heard. And we're gonna pause, and I'm gonna take this banana powder by Revolution Makeup and put it to where I had my concealer because I don't want to be all shiny and oily, even though my skin is going through something right now. Like bad. Like I have never had these many skin problems, like ever. So we're gonna put that all over and we're gonna let that bake. So yeah, I feel like I took communication from the marriage. That taught me the way that my mind was opened after learning to communicate. It's such a drastic difference that I feel like, even though I still have a way to go, because there are times where I still shut down or I feel attacked or I'm quick to jump on the defense, I have to remember that, you know, it's not just about me and that I need to acknowledge and try to empathize with people, especially if I've done something wrong. And the best way to go about it is learning how to communicate. So I always try to realize what it is that I did wrong, because if I messed up, I need to know that I messed up so that I can fix it, and so that I can make you feel like, you know, I'm taking responsibility for the things that I have done. So communication was one of the biggest things that I learned from my marriage, and I'm really thankful to him for that, because had we not been thrown into a situation where we had to properly communicate, then I probably would not have learned, and I probably wouldn't have forced myself to learn, because it does make me so uncomfortable. And now that this powder has been on my face, I'm gonna kind of take a brush and brush it off. I don't want it to sit on my skin for too long, because as you can see, it'll lighten. And I didn't bring any what didn't I bring? I didn't bring any bronzer into the living room, and I'm too lazy to go get it from the bathroom, so you know, I'm just gonna look light skinned, I guess. I don't know. No, I'm lying. I'm gonna get it. Hold on. Okay, so for bronzer, I switched back from Tarte and Beauty Bakery, but this was on top, so I'm just gonna go in with this, and I kind of just do it on the outskirts of my face. Like I don't need any like definition or anything like that. I'm not trying to like contour. I just need to go so that I'm not looking like a banana. You know what I'm saying? Like just give me a little color. So I know this is not how you apply makeup, but that ain't what I do. So I just do what works for me. And as long as there ain't no flashback, I don't even be upset. You feel me? So another good lesson that I learned while being married was independence. And I know that sounds crazy because they're like, you're married and you should be one and blah, 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 which is true. But it's also so freaking important to maintain your independence when you're married to somebody. Like, we get married and we lose ourselves, and that I was about to say that shit. I'm trying to watch my language. And that stuff happens so quickly. You lose your identity. You forget the things that make you happy. You forget the things that you're passionate about. You lose your friendships. You lose your relationships. You disappear off the grid because, you know, you're so happy. You're in this honeymoon phase, and that's great. But it's so important to stay true to yourself and stay true to who you are, while also respecting your marriage. And I completely lost myself. I completely lost myself to, we're gonna use Arctic Face It, Arctic One blusher, Face It, satin coral from the Face Shop. I got this in Korea. Yes, y'all, I'm still holding on to it. Don't judge me. I just kind of rub it around like this, and to the apples of our cheeks and kind of brush upwards. So yeah, it's so important to not lose yourself, but it's really hard. So with us being, you know, at the time active duty, we were separated a lot because Army does not care about you and your family and your happiness. They're like, oh, you're happy? Let me fuck that up. So yeah, Army, it does not care. And we were forced to be apart. Like right after we got married, I went on TDY, and then he had surgery. When I got back, I think I was gone for almost a month, and I came back, and then he had surgery, and so I was taking care of everything because he had major surgery. And then freaking 67th was like, yeah, you need to go to Korea. And then I was by myself. And so at the time I was by myself while he was in Korea. I was pregnant. I was a part-time student. I was still active duty. And it was just so freaking insane. And I didn't start dating until I was 17. But I've always been with somebody. I've always talked to somebody. I always flirted with someone. Like, I've just always had access to a human being. And when I was married, I didn't have access to my human because he was thousands of miles away in another country. And with a 13 to 14 hour time difference, it just like made it hard for us to talk and communicate. And with me still being fairly new to Augusta, I really didn't have any friends. And I had to learn how to not only enjoy my own company and enjoy being by myself, but I had to find out the things that made me happy again. Like, I wasn't working out as much because I was like, oh, I need to be a mom and I need to be a wife, and I wasn't singing at all. And with him being in Korea, like, I learned how to do so much shit. I learned how to handle finances better. I learned how to take care of a house. I learned how to take care of another little human. I learned that I'm strong enough to get, you know, through a pregnancy physically with limited help. Like, I just learned how to be me. I learned how strong I was, and I never knew that I wasn't independent. Like, I never knew that I clinged onto people because I was afraid to be by myself. And when I got married, I was forced to realize that being by yourself can be so healthy and so liberating. And that's what it did for me. Like, I would go to the movies by myself, or I would go out to eat and sit by myself and people watch, and go to the library, or like just whatever I wanted to do after my responsibilities were handled. I went and did it, and it was freaking great. Like, even though I feel more independent now, that was the start for me, was when he was gone, because I had to learn, or I was going to be miserable because he was not there. So the second best lesson that I learned was how to be freaking independent. All right, so now we're gonna put on, why can't I have words today? We're gonna put on some highlighter, cause you know, so I say, I'm a girl excited. Ooh, you know they like it. I'm so icy, so ice. All right, so this is all you need for the summer. I think we're gonna go in with Snatched. Snatched is this color right here, and I use all three, and you know, and I really don't need a lot because the blush is kind of shimmery. So what's the third lesson I learned? The third lesson I learned was, even though I'm not married now, but when I do decide to marry again, how important it is to date. And I say that because when you get married, people think, oh, it's just it's not supposed to be fun, or you're just supposed to take care of responsibilities and it's all about cohesion, the woman, or like how they say that marriage is more beneficial to women than it is to men, and you will essentially fall out of love if you do not learn how to date within your marriage. You have to learn to find reasons to fall and stay in love. You have to learn how to find reasons to be with the person that you want to be with, because there are going to be some days where you wake up and you're like, oh my god, his breath stinks so bad. Why can't he just put his underwear in the hamper? Why can't he wipe the toothpaste off the sink? Like, you're just going to find things that irritate you so bad, and the more you focus on those little things, the more those little things grow into big things, and then you start to lose the sense of why you fell in love. And setting aside time to spend with each other, going out on dates, getting pretty, finding enjoyment in hobbies together, that stuff is so important because it keeps your marriage alive, it keeps it fresh, it keeps you guys smiling and happy, and just learning how to enjoy each other's time. Like, it takes work. Like, people really don't understand how much work it takes to be married. You think it's going to be all peaches and cream, and it's not. Like, after the first 6 months to a year, like, my mom always told, I blinked so bad just now. My mom always told me the first 3 to 5 years of marriage were the hardest, and she was absolutely freaking correct. Any chance we got, we would go on a date without Nani, or without, after Lottie got here, without Lottie, and just spend time together and be silly. And even though, we didn't work out, it still taught me how important it is to not only invest in myself, but invest in that man, invest in that marriage. It's not just about women, it's about men too. Like, when both are happy, you have a happy home, and there's nothing better than finding a new reason to fall in love with your significant other, and having fun, and being able to be a child, and being able to be yourself, because there are so many responsibilities and so many things that you have to do. It's just like, find something that you want to do, and find something that you want to do with each other. And I feel like as long as you do that, then regardless of, the hard times and the disagreements, the arguments, the stress and the frustration, and I'm not saying that this is what's going to keep your marriage together, but these are one of the things that you can make conscious effort to do so that you guys can last. It's always going to be a process and a few steps that you have to take in order to, last. But those are the 3 positive things that I took from being married, because my marriage was not miserable the whole time, and I never want anybody to get that idea or assume that that's what it was, just because my biggest and hardest lessons did come from pain. What is on my face? That my hardest lessons did come from pain, which they did, and I will never make those mistakes again. But there were some enjoyable moments, and I did learn a lot of good from him and a lot of good from that marriage. So I'm going to leave it right there until next time. This is the final look. Very simple, very basic. I don't wear a lot of makeup in general, but especially in the summer because it's so freaking hot outside. And yeah, so I feel like I've mentioned these products in my last video. So if you haven't seen my last video, go click it. If you're not subscribed and you sat through this, you should be subscribed in 3, 2, 1. And I will see you guys on the next upload. Love you. Bye.